Again, welcome to week 3, ENT 620, one of my favorite topics, limited liability company. What is an LLC and why would you choose to form one? First and foremost, an LLC is not a corporation. If you're dealing with an attorney and they refer to an LLC as a corporation, hire a different attorney. Do not hire that lawyer. A lot of confusion in the business world. People think that an LLC is a corporation of some sort. It is not. It is a hybrid entity that was created to give small businesses the protection, the asset protection of a corporation without all the tax complication. It is a unique form of entity. It does not issue stock. Okay, that's very important. If stock's important, you cannot do an LLC. Because it does not issue stock, there are no shareholders. And first and foremost, owners are actually called members. There are two types of LLCs, single member and multi-member. An LLC is a distinct legal entity separate from the owner. How do you form it? You file articles of organization with the state that you live in or you want the entity to be formed in. How many members can you have? Single member, obviously just one. However, in some states, a married couple is counted as being just a single member. Okay? In a multi-member LLC, there's no limit. And ownership of LLCs can be individuals, so human beings, or they can be other business entities. So a corporation can own an LLC, for example, and that's actually quite common. Why would you choose an LLC? What are some of the most attractive attributes? Limited liability, first and foremost, right? So limited liability, my personal assets, my home, my funds, it's protected, meaning that if my total investment in an LLC is $20,000, that's all I'm liable for, meaning the entity might be sued and there could be a judgment. They can't go after my personal assets. Everything outside of the LLC that I own is protected. There's a barrier there. Ease of formation in the state of Michigan, it costs $50 to file or form an LLC, and you do that by simply filing articles of organization. Pretty simple. What about the transfer of ownership? So let's say myself and 3 of my friends form an LLC. Because there's 4 of us, that is a multi-member LLC. And let's say I wake up and I just decide I'm ready to exit the business for whatever reason. I've got a lot of stuff going on, doesn't matter. But I want to sell my 1/4 interest to somebody else. Can I do that? Yes, but typically you'll find that in articles of organization, it will state that the member interests are closely held. And so closely held means that before I can sell my 1/4 interest, my 25% of the business, I must first offer it back to the other 3 members. So they have a right of first refusal. Typically, it's at a predetermined price. And if they decline or refuse to purchase my 25%, then I can sell it to an outsider. But typically, you'll see that in the context of an LLC, they are closely held, meaning there are prohibitions on the outright transfer of ownership. And why is that a good thing? Because if it's just 4 of us that own it and we co-run the business, they want to make sure that that party, that new person who's buying in, is going to be compatible. Raising capital, LLCs are not great for raising capital. And why? Because they don't issue stock. And so all we can do is give you an equity interest. So if I invest $200,000 into an LLC, okay, that might give me 5% ownership or equity. So I just get a percentage of ownership. I don't get stock. Taxation of LLCs, they are a pass-through entities for tax purposes. The entity does not pay tax. So here's the LLC, and here's A, B, C, and D, the four owners. Money comes into the LLC. Profit and loss is then sent to the co-owners. There's no tax at this level. Each of the members will pay tax based on their share of profit and loss at their individual rate. So it passes through. Tax ramifications pass through the entity and are deposited into each of the co-owners' accounts. So the taxation of a single member LLC. I'm not going to go into hyper detail on all this stuff because this is not a tax class, but I do this kind of stuff. I've done it, so I'll share some of it with you. An LLC is a disregarded pass-through entity for tax purposes. So a single member LLC, that's one person. The profit or loss, is reported on Schedule C of the owner's personal tax return, or their 1040. So most of us file a Form 1040 at the end of each tax year. 1040 has various schedules. And so if any of you own an LLC, you would click on Schedule C, profit or loss for my business, the name of the business, so Acme LLC, all this information. You put down your income, $10,000 for the LLC. You just started it as like a side gig or a hobby. And then you list your expenses, whatever they are. And then you get over here and you get to your net profit, which say 10,000 revenue, 6,000 expenses. So I've got 4,000 in net profit. The 4,000 is what you pay tax on. So pretty straightforward, simply addition, subtraction, income, revenue, less expenses gives you your net, and that's what you pay tax on. And you do this in your personal tax return. There's no double taxation at like a corporate level. What if we've got, again, the four members, a multi-member LLC? Again, the entity does not pay tax. It is a pass-through entity. But because there's four of us, this entity must have its own, let's call it a social security number. So the entity, the LLC, is going to get an EIN, which is a taxpayer identification number. So an EIN. Sorry about my drawing, it's not great using this pen. So the EIN is used to file IRS Form 1065. You can click on that link on the PDF if you want to. No need to do it though. That tax return is purely informational. It says we had $100,000 come in this year, or we had $100,000 profit. But what do we do with that $100,000? Well, it gets paid out to the co-owners. So each of the co-owners is going to get $25K. And that is communicated to them via IRS Form K1. Okay? So if I own 25% of an LLC and my share of the net profit is $25,000, I will receive a Form K1 that says, "Dear John, your share of the profit is $25,000. That form is sent to the IRS, so they know that I must report $25,000 profit on my tax return, and if I don't, they're going to catch me. So, a multi-member LLC does in fact file a tax return, Form 1065, but it's purely informational. It does not pay tax. It divides up the net profit, communicates it to the members via Form K1, and they then are required to show that income on their tax return. So, does that sound complicated? It's not really. Is it attractive? Very much so, because there's no double taxation. So typically, if we were a regular corporation, like a Ford Motor Company, so if this is Ford Motor Company here, it pays tax on the net profit. So tax is paid at this level. Then a dividend share of earnings is sent to the owners, and they pay tax again. That's the double taxation that you do not have with an LLC. What is a negative associated with an LLC? Whenever you own an LLC, any part of it, it is considered self-employment because you're an owner. As a self-employed individual, you pay both sides of Social Security. So if any of you currently have W-2 income right now, right, you have the payroll tax. You can see it on your paycheck stub. I know we all get them electronically, but you can see it. So that is Medicare and Social Security. If you are employed, you pay half of Medicare, which is 1.45%, comes out of your check, and you pay half of Social Security, which is 6.2% from your check. When you own an LLC, there's no employer, right? You are self-employed, so you pay the full 15.3% yourself, which is fine. If you're just starting in business, that's fine because you got a lot of expenses, your net profit's going to be low. But generally, when you start to see a net profit creep up above, let's say 70, 75,000, you're looking at a pretty significant self-employment tax hit. And so you want to start looking at another entity, and we'll talk about that in another video. What's some cool stuff that you can do with an LLC? Let's say you're successful in life and you purchase a second home, a vacation property. Well, if somebody gets hurt on that property while you're not there, maybe you let your child or one of your children use that with some of their friends. They're older, maybe teens, late teens, early 20s, and somebody gets hurt very horribly, and then they sue. So somebody gets injured, the family sues, now you lose everything because it happened on your property. You're not even there, but as the owner, you're liable. So what we'll do typically as lawyers, we'll transfer that second property into an LLC so that if there's any liability, you might lose that house, which is horrible, but your personal assets and your primary residence are protected. What about a family cottage? So we're getting into second or third generation of a piece of property being in a property or in the family. Could be a cottage, could be a farm. So we create an LLC, transfer that property in there, and then there are rules that manage that property. Who can use it, when they can use it, is there a cost to using it? So essentially creates a business entity for that property. Rental units. If you have a rental unit, let's say you have, 4 rental units, and there's a tragic accident at this unit here, and the unit is worth $250K, but the judgment is $500. You're losing this house. You just lost it, right? Judgment's worth more than the value. You're also going to lose this, right? Unless we do a separate LLC for each one of these, which is typically what's done. That means if I have an LLC for this rental property, all the liability is in this box, can't touch my other units. So that's typically what's done in the investment property world. Another thing that's nice about an LLC, they're easily undone. So I start here. So this is on the left, we've got kind of, let's call it the beginning of a business, creating a business empire. We start with an LLC. And as we progress, we might go to a multi-member LLC. We might go to something called an S corporation, and then we might end up at a full-blown corporation. A lot of businesses don't succeed, they fail. Somewhere around here, if I've got money tied up in a corporation and then I just decide that it's not worth doing anymore, I can't just pull my money out and I can't just sell the assets. That is a taxable event because the entity owns the assets. If I have a single member LLC and I've invested money in equipment and then I just decide not to do the business anymore, it's mine. It's not a taxable event. So what I like to tell the students, we can easily move this way along the business continuum, but we cannot go backwards. Once we are a corporation, we can't go back to an LLC very easily, but we can migrate from LLC to corporation. So the progression is left to right. Thank you very much. More information will come soon.